I want to be the Samay Raina of HR. We hire people to do their job, sweetheart. We don't hire nice people.
Hi Nazneen.
Hello, Ash.
Today I'm here to sit with Nazneen Batliwala, aka Sassy HR Lady.
Trust me, corporate is a jungle. One of the organizations where I interviewed, because I had red hair, the HR head sat on my offer letter for a month.
HR is for employees or for corporate?
If it's not sassy, it's not HR. I am not bad-mouthing HR, but I'm bad-mouthing the wrong practices they do, and then I said, bus.
Mental health at work. Real priority or new corporate buzzword?
Individuals take feedback as if the person has abused the father, mother, pure khandan ko gali de di, not bothering an employee after 8 p.m. For me, that is mental health.
What's one thing Gen Z does that secretly terrifies the older generations?
Boundaries. HR is nobody's friend. I'm not there to be your friend.
Now that I'm working in London, I see very different work culture.
Yeah.
If you tell them in the morning not feeling well, they do tell you that okay, take a day off. Whereas when I was in India, they'd be like, okay, work until you can,
Yeah.
and then we'll see. What's one HR myth you wish people would stop believing urgently?
We are family. Family ghar pe hai.
One of my friend, and he was like, I am doing 9 to 6. I'm leaving at 7:30 in the morning, coming home at 8, 9 in the night. And then he's like, on top of it, my office wants to celebrate family. He's like, I don't want to. One thing you wish companies would fix immediately. Hi, I'm Madash, and this is the Mad Time. I sit here with people who think differently and chase their craft with intention, and their stories spark curiosity. Hi, I'm Madash, and this is the Mad Time. Here, I sit with people who think differently, question things, and carry the stories that spark curiosity. These are the conversations that come from lived experiences, honest perspectives, and the courage to say the things as they are. Today, I'm here to sit with Nazneen Batliwala, aka Sassy HR Lady, who has a straightforward take on people and corporate culture. She has become a strong voice in building the bridge between Gen Z and the corporate world. She is here to tell how the generation is behaving and how the corporate culture works. Hi, Nazneen.
Hello, Ash.
Welcome to the Mad Time. So, today I really want to talk about the corporate reality that nobody talks about. And here I go. So, HR, out of all the other glamorous options that you have, why did you choose this roller coaster?
Yeah, people keep telling me that I'm too glamorous for HR, and I do agree to a point. But, HR never came to me as a choice. It would have never come to me. But I guess I'm a millennial, and like most millennials, our parents decided what we should do. And coming from a Orthodox, traditional Parsi, South Bombay family, I think my parents said that, look at something which is more like 9 to 5. And they wanted me to do various things. I would never do finance because I hate numbers. And then I just came across HR as a profession, and they said, see, basically their funda was 9 to 5, take a job from 9 to 5, what you get. And I got interested towards HR as a subject, and that's how I jumped in and landed up in HR. But that didn't take my glam quotient away, So that's the good part of it.
But you studied BCom.
No, I studied BA. So I did arts. I wanted to do BMM. I wanted to do events. I wanted to do mass media because I felt I was like the perfect fit. And, I'm completely right-brained, So in HR, people are completely left-brained. There's more logic, there's more numbers, there's more data. And I was just the opposite because I was running away from all three. And because I hated math in school, I didn't want to take up a profession which was related to numbers. But thankfully, when I did my HR also, I stayed clear of the number-related thing, and I was more into L&D and hiring, which has more to do with people, which has more to do with psychology, So that was the interesting part. So I chose to stick to that.
But what was your welcome to corporate sweetheart moment?
Oh, that's a good one. Like I said, again, going back to South Bombay, only child, pampered. When I walked into corporate, I thought it's just going to be another extension of how pampered I was in my personal life. But when I went there, reality hit me in many ways. For the first time, I probably had, a manager giving me feedback in a very harsh way. And I remember crying and going to her boss saying that, why is so and so talking to me so rudely? I'm such a nice person. And that time the HR had told me, we hire people to do their job, sweetheart. We don't hire nice people. And I think that was like, oh my God. And that changed the game for me. Instead of being upset about it, I took it in such a positive way. And that was my welcome to corporate sweetheart moment, which is like, you hire people who do the job. Whether they're nice or not doesn't matter.
But it does in the end of the day, isn't it?
Yes, but like I said, being nice, yes, but at the cost of not doing your job, it doesn't really matter.
But when I first joined the company, even I was at a point where I cried because it was too much pressure. But I think it was always a bridge between either you cry and you just give up, or you do something about it and talk about it and just get the work done. So yeah, did you always plan to be unfiltered, or did the corporate circus force it out of you?
See, being a Parsi, I have to promote my community since we're like just minuscule funds left. But see, being a Parsi, we do come with a very unfiltered approach other ways also. Our upbringing is very unfiltered. So yes, I was unfiltered, but not to that extent. See, because being unfiltered in person and being unfiltered in a corporate, because my parents come from that very, very value-driven Tata cultures where you have to watch what you say. So yes, when I stepped into that, I used to watch, but then beyond a point, I realized, boss, they say no, when I do something, people have an objection. When I don't do something, people have an objection. So might as well do it and let people have an objection. So then I said that, you know what, if I don't like something, I'm going to be vociferous and I'm going to say that I don't like it. And if you call that unfiltered, or you call that uncouth, or you call that battamiz, whatever, so be it.
In fact, I think that if you look at all the history, there has always been the different stages where people were not supposed to talk about different things, and especially women, but they did, and that's why I think we are here and what we are doing.
I think people have a perception that if you're in HR, you have to be a nun, But I'm like, hey, I'm the nun who smokes cigarettes, or I'm the nun who, I don't smoke, but like I'm the nun with tattoos. So like, just because I'm HR, that doesn't mean I'm not entitled to an opinion, or I'm not entitled to raise my voice. So I think that was something which, I was always at peace with the way I am. It was just about getting the others to adjust. So they're like, either adjust or either perish. It was like that.
But were you ever like judged by your looks and then, HR? So it's always like a balance of both.
So I still do get judged. So I think that has really nothing to do with my profession. Because I always own my persona and my personality. So I would walk in with a red blazer, even to an office, and people would be like, oh my God, what's the red carpet look? And I'm like, you have no idea what red carpet is. Like, this is not red carpet. And, an interesting story I'd like to tell you. In one of the organizations where I interviewed, because I had red hair, the HR head sat on my offer letter for a month because he was not able to make up his mind. The CEO loved me, but he was following up saying, Naz, when are you joining? And I was like, sir, I cannot leave without getting an offer letter. And I'm like, I haven't got it. And then during the course of time when I joined the organization and I worked, and my work obviously spoke, I also spoke, but my work spoke more. And that was the time when the HR head confessed to me saying that, you know what, the first time I saw you because of your red hair, I judged you. And I thought you won't be good at your job. And trust me, instead of getting upset, I was like, the guy is at least owning up. The guy is at least telling me. And it was big of somebody coming from a very traditional mindset to accept it and own it. So yeah, I still get judged. Like today also, like my friends, like if I do a thing on judge my profession, the first thing would be, you're an influencer, or maybe you are a media person, or maybe you're an RJ, or maybe you're marketing, or maybe you work for an ad agency, but HR koi nahi bolega.
That's not the first guess.
Never. Not in the wildest dreams. Yeah.
But what was the moment you thought, fine, I'll just say it publicly?
So, I think in my journey, my HR journey has been an eye opener in many things. So, while yes, I've been very sassy and swanky, a lot of corporate realities hit me. Like, I had to be in a position where I couldn't take decisions, I couldn't say things aloud. Although I strongly stood by employees when I saw the facts, but I saw decisions were being taken by all the other leaders and stakeholders which were not fair to the employee. You know, there were people where I saw a lot of surveys getting fudged. Okay, I'm saying this on camera, but there were surveys getting fudged. There was a person who gave feedback regarding his particular HOD, and the person was asked to leave the organization on false pretexts. तो ये सब जो कचरा corporate का है, I don't find a better way to put it. I saw all that happening, and that's when I realized, dude, nahi. There is a good side. I am not bad mouthing HR, but I am bad mouthing the wrong practices they do. And then I said, बस अब तो हम क्या बॉडी से अब तो हम आंदोलन करेंगे अब तो हम झंडा उठाएंगे that was the thing.
And someone has to do it, because even I feel like now that I'm working in London, I see very different work culture where you see them giving you the personal and professional work-life balance. If you tell them in the morning that I'm not feeling well, I don't think so I can work, they do tell you that okay, take a day off, see how you feel, and then let me know. Whereas when I was in India, I will tell you, if I'm telling the boss in the morning that I'm not feeling well, he'll be like, okay, work until you can, and then we'll see. So it's always it's showing me the differences, and I think then there has to be someone who has to talk about it.
Sure, but I think a lot also has to do on the kind of people you work with. Like there are certain people, like there are very few people who actually own, and by own their work, I mean that like if I'm genuinely not well, I'm genuinely not well. But then how do you realize that person is genuinely unwell and taking that leave, or a person is just making an excuse?
There's always
it's always a catch-22 situation. But yes, even I have worked with international companies, and I would say that they are very practical. They are not very emotional. Here we start listening to a Karan Johar emotional tune in every conversation at workplace. And this entire thing of jaan laga de kaam ke liye, I have never believed that. Even when I was 25 and even at 40, I don't believe that. Kaam karne ke liye, boss, jaan laga dene ke liye nahi hai. It's that, and at the end of the day, you're adults. If you need to take a day off, damn it, take a day off.
Yeah.
So agree. That's the way I think.
So what's your thought on the viral video that went recently about a manager who said that I don't care about the family, I don't even care about my family?
So see, again, I will have a very different take on this. So I have seen a lot of these videos, and yes, probably what he said was not right. If I have to think of a very humane factor and stuff like that. But if you see the entire conversation which happened, it was about a sales guy not meeting his targets. Okay? Now, sales is a very high pressure job. सेकेंड थिंग, अगर आप पूरा वीडियो देखो तो उसमें उस बंदे ने, मैनेजर ने उसको बोला है कि आपको आपके बंदे, यू वांटेड समबडी इन योर टीम, आई गेव यू अ टीम मेंबर. At the end of going and telling the management, I gave you an extra resource. Still, you've not met your targets. So somewhere down the line, and I think very important when people are in corporate, I keep saying this, always listen to the chair and not the person. So I think in corporate, it's very important कि हम feedback को कैसे ले. It is a very important trait, and nobody taught me that. Like I told you, right? My first example, I went to the HR head's room, and he would have thought this girl is mad. And I started crying, saying, she's mean to me. And that lady was also senior, by the way. She's mean to me. I'm a nice person. I mean, so somewhere down the line, all these things have conditioned how I am today. And I feel it's very important to tell the Gen Zs that, boss, how do you have to be corporate ready. It's not about going and giving a talk in a college and saying ki aapko formals pehne. It's about helping them deal with the deal and trust me, corporate is a jungle. I do agree, corporate is a jungle.
It's a maze.
And Gen Zs, now today, everything they make it viral, everything is a problem for them. Like for example, my manager spoke to me rudely in a meeting, I quit, everybody makes it viral on LinkedIn. अरे हमें पता है क्या हुआ है, फीडबैक आपके काम के बारे में दिया गया, आप उसको पर्सनल अटैक क्यों ले रहे हो? See, managers, you need to understand people are not going to change. you have to just adjust in terms of how you take feedback. If I was in the person's thing, I would say 6 बज गए ना, ये बकवास हो गई, अभी मुझे इसके बाद बाहर जाके शॉपिंग करनी है, चलो सुन लिया मैनेजर का. So you have to be a bulletproof individual at work. I think because if you try and dodge the bullets, a bullet will always hit you. But if you become bulletproof, भले ही कोई जो बोले भाड़ में जाए, you should not let that affect you and your output. And I think this is a very important lesson today which Gen Zs need to understand. This doesn't mean that I don't give a damn or I don't care. Yes, you should care about your work, but you shouldn't care about a person who's putting you down. And you know, I had one of my first managers called Rustam, and he told me a very important thing when I was 25. He said, "Bacha, never give the other person a reaction which they want from you when they are trying to anger you. Then you have won and not them." This is something
Very
which has
nice.
stayed with me till date. क्योंकि अगर मैं उसको वो reaction दे रही हूँ, so he is winning.
Yeah.
He is trying to irk me. I was at one point that person who used to get affected by everything. And trust me, now I'm like, तुमको जो बोलना है बोलो. It's not going to affect my peace of mind. It's not going to take away my sass. So that's that.
I think it also ends up on having a perspective, right? Like you
Absolutely.
always need to have two perspectives. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
just look at one angle
Absolutely.
and make a decision or make a assumption that this is what it is.
Yeah.
So when you created Sassy HR Lady, did you expect people to cheer, panic, or send HR complaints?
So I expected to, actually, like I said, I expected people to treat me like Samay Raina. आओ कुर्सी तोड़ो, आओ स्टूडियो तोड़ो, ये क्या बोल रही है. मुझे लगा कि सारी HR community will do an आंदोलन against me because there were people who were messaging me like, you know, can you be a little filtered? Like today also on some of my LinkedIn posts, you know, people don't take this feedback. I said, अरे मैं अगर किसी को छुरा मार रही हूँ तो छुरा को वेलवेट में लपेट के क्यों मैं उसको टच करूँ, मैं तो छुरा ही मारूंगी ना. And my thing is, see, I am not bad mouthing people, I am not bad mouthing HR. I am saying कि I am bad mouthing the stupid practices. Like today also, if your policies say sandwich leave, today also if people monitor your attendance, today also if people say अरे Sunday evening 6 o'clock मुझे ये कल सुबह भेजना है, अभी काम करो, boss, all this is stupid. So I am calling out the stupidities, I am calling out practices. I am like, listen, हमारा ज़माना अलग था. Like, you know, I have this very interesting way how I put it. When boomers and Gen X's used to say loyalty, we used to hear 24/7. In fact, I've even been told by my managers in some organizations, you are a single girl ना, तुम्हारा पति नहीं है, बच्चे नहीं है, तो मतलब तुम्हारा weekend पे you are free. I'm like, मैं single हूँ, I'm all the more busy. Like, how can you assume that because I'm single? And I told him that and he got pissed off. I'm like, this is a very stupid analogy. Just because Reena and Tina and the team are having kids and family, and because I'm single, that means you mean I'm available.
They're just assuming that they have kids, so they're gonna have less time.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm like, dude, I am single. I need to do more rocking things on the weekend. Like how?
they are settled. They have also already found someone, so you need to find yours.
So this is what I felt that, and because I have this, see, I cannot sugarcoat. And another thing, why you correctly said I would have never chosen an HR, because I am a very non-diplomatic person. Like I have had exit interviews where I've told employees saying, boss, I think you should leave. I don't think the organization will be able to support you. And people assume why you're not retending. I'm like, retention is not a part of HR's job. Retention is the entire organization's job. आप लोग पूरे साल उसको चाकू मारो और जब he's exiting, you expect me to sit and say pretty and say मत जाओ ना, रुक जाओ ना. I'm not going to do that shit. Because for me, I know where the person is coming from. I know more about the person than people sitting on their top chairs. You know, so that is what. So I would be very honest. And I think that is something which HRs lack, honesty. And be honest, be real. Because that's what and be human. Because you don't understand, you are an impact function above just being a business or a support function. And if you're not being able to create that impact, then what the hell are you even doing in HR?
I have a very tricky question. So, HR is for employees or for corporate?
HR is basically, I would say, the firewall between employees and corporates, handling employee emotions so that it doesn't lead to a lawsuit. So I think we are the marriage counselor in a way, you know, where we are saying कि पति में ये problem है, पत्नी में ये problem है, कि दोनों एक दूसरे को चाकू ना मार दे. How we maintain the sanity and how we ensure that both of them delve together to make the relationship work. So that is. And like very important, when people say na HR is friend, boss, HR is not your friend. Let me just be very honest. HR is nobody's friend. HR is not your friend. I am not there to be your friend. I am there to be your comfort. I'm there to help you, so that you kind of, to help you with this entire life cycle and whatever wellness we can do around it, so that you are able to perform at your job. So don't say कि ये मेरा HR, एक तो friends at work एक other concept है where I can write a book on, because for me work friends are very separate and actual friends are very separate. And
True.
I think that line needs to be maintained very well, because then it gets messed up. Same thing with posh. Like if openly you're having affairs in offices, it's fine. But the moment things go wrong, you have a law. What will you do when your friends at work and that relationship goes bad? There is no law or policy against that.
I too recently saw that there was a statistics that India is one of the top countries for having office affairs.
Oh yeah. But see, like I said, I am okay. I was on the posh committee. See, I am okay with people having people. यार ये स्कूल के बच्चे हैं क्या? इसको हाथ मत पकड़ो, ये मत पकड़ो. People have consent. People are mature adults. We are nobody to judge if two married people are having an affair in office. We are nobody to judge. So first of all, don't come and tell me कि इनको बोलो ये दोनों शादीशुदा है अपने बीवियों के साथ, बस husband. यार मैं कौन हूँ यार? I'm not a corporate बाबा निराला या कैसे बेटा आओ जप नाम. But at the end of the day, my thing is only to caution them, saying boss, like I would tell them that यार ऑफिस में लोग स्पॉट कर रहे हैं, जरा ऑफिस में जरा अपना PDA कम करो. I will tell them that. I have no right to tell them that you are not supposed to date this one. मैं क्या तुम्हारा father हूँ, grandfather हूँ, क्या हूँ? So it has to be dealt, and it has to be dealt sensitively, because at the end of the, like I always say, even when the entire astronomer CEO and that HR thing blew up, infidelity is not a corporate policy. तो उसको सबने HR एंगल क्यों दिया है बॉस? मतलब अगर मैं किसी चौल में काम कर रही हूँ और मैं किसी और के साथ चक्कर चलाऊँ, so that is okay. पर इसको corporate ये क्यों दिया जाता है? See, posh is not for affairs in office. Posh is more in terms of somebody should not be disrespectful to a woman, and make sexual advances. Unfortunately, posh laws are also a lot in favor of women. So I see a lot of women also taking advantage of it, and I've seen that happen. But it's about your corporate code of conduct. So I would actually say how you conduct yourself in a corporate is more important to you in terms of going ahead in your career. And यार बीवी है, बच्चे, affairs को ऑफिस के बाहर ही रखो, is for your sanity, not because लोग क्या कहेंगे. I mean, like I will never say लोग क्या कहेंगे, because I have never followed लोग क्या कहेंगे. But otherwise you need to maintain that certain corporate stature and decorum. That's all.
Whenever someone says to me, वो चार लोग क्या कहेंगे, I'm like, कौन है वो? I want to see them because I don't care anymore. But what's the funniest or most chaotic reaction you had for the first time when you started Sassy HR Lady?
So there are a lot of people who DM me saying we cannot comment openly on your LinkedIn posts because log kya kahenge.
Yeah.
But this is superb. Like, the way you roast people, मतलब वो प्यार से पंच मारा तो आदमी को पता नहीं चला कि ये पप्पी दे रही है कि झापड़ मार रही है. So that is what they said, that this is good, because I realized I am becoming the voice, or have already become the voice of a lot of people who want to say something but can't say it.
Yeah.
Like today what Gen Zs are saying, millennials have been wanting to say. Boomers have denied it, but they have secretly Googled saying, is this right or wrong? So this is the voice. Because at the end of the day, why is there a policy of being open about feedback in corporates if you are not open to listening to feedback? Right? It should be कि boss, if you're saying open to feedback, listen to it. अभी आप वो feedback का हमें भी पता है कुछ करते नहीं हो, but at least be open to listen to it.
What's one HR myth you wish people would stop believing urgently?
We are family. Enough and more has said of it. We are not family. Family घर पे है. ये हम यहाँ काम के लिए आते हैं. It is very clear. We are here as work professionals. We are not as family. And I made this very funny reel instantly saying where people say work is family, and I had that instant reaction saying, अच्छा फिर यहाँ का राजा बेटा कौन है जो बिना कुछ किए प्रमोट हो जाता है? But that is because family में कोई ऐसा ही होता है. Like thankfully I don't have siblings, but people who have siblings, like you would know, like your brother always gets favoritism or your sister may get favoritism. So family में बिना कुछ किए, अरे मेरा लाडला बेटा पेन उठाएगा, उसको पेन चोट लग जाएगी. तो corporate में भी तो ऐसे ही है. So there are people like this who sit and do nothing and get promoted, but corporates, we are not like family. We are work professionals. We are there for work. We are not there for anything. And that is why when I'm at work, 9 to 7 I'm at work, and I tell certain people कि boss अभी तो दिखना भी मत 7 बजे के बाद, because if I see you I will just ignore you. It's like that.
You know, in fact, 2 days back, I met my friend, one of my friend, and he just came from office
Yeah.
and he was very tired and he was like, I am doing 9 to 6. I'm leaving at 7:30 in the morning, coming home at 8, 9 in the
Wow.
night. And then he is like, on top of it, my office wants to celebrate family. And they are like, bring your family to office. He's like, I don't want to. I want to have some time with my family at home. I don't want to make everything about corporate.
Yeah.
That's what the companies are trying to do. Like, have family time but in office.
Yeah.
Have this but at office. So it's like,
Yeah, I know, because क्या करेंगे, कुछ तो पार्टी के आइडियाज चाहिए ना. मतलब what will they do? How much of रंगोली will they do? How much of kids day will they do? How much of pizza Fridays they'll do? They also have to do their engagement calendars, right? Because a lot of people think that engaging employees is parties. People don't look beyond. So that is the thing. तो अभी कुछ तो कुछ करना ही पड़ेगा.
what's something HR sees daily that employees would faint over?
So, what HR sees, or I would probably talk about myself since I'm sitting on the hot seat. I would feel that what we see daily and what I have seen daily is a lot of people have resigned in a fit of anger without having a backup plan, without having applying somewhere else. And I think this I have seen in daily basis कि आप अपने गुस्से और एक argument की वजह से you just send a resignation. You cannot do such impulsive things. And sometimes we are not able to convince a person to take back the resignation. But I have seen stupid reasons के लिए. Like, you know, my manager has been rude to me. मुझसे ऐसे बात कर रहा नहीं होएगा. I resign. I can't go on this Ganpati leave. I resign.
It's almost like when in relationship, boyfriend, girlfriends on a fight, they break up but they patch up again. You can't patch up with the corporate again.
Yeah, so I'm saying how stupid, and this is not only kids. Talent, no kids. This is not only the younger talent, even the other talent which is at a stage in your career where you have things sorted out, you know, mostly post 35. Still, those people are sending impulsive emails, and issues are so ridiculous. And trust me, all this, I in fact have a friend who's a leadership coach, and I also tell her that she's like, you know, Naz, some of the leadership I have to coach on basics. जो बच्चों को सिखाना पड़ता है ना, I have to coach leaders on that. So you imagine कि as you grow up, मतलब आप career में काम आपका बढ़ता है, आपका mentality और mindset वही है. It's about a mindset shift. At the end of the day, it's about a mindset shift. So I've seen people for being so angry, being so impulsive, and just writing mails. At least I used to also be like that, but I used to save them in a draft. I would never send them. I would say, oh, you woman, you need to die. Oh, this one, I'm going to dig you up and kill you again. I had mails like this, and my Rustam can testify, because he's like, thankfully you've not sent this.
Sent it.
You know? So it's also good to have a boss or a mentor who lets you be your little frivolous, crazy self, but see, you're venting out, but at the same time,
you bring it to the ground.
Yeah, still kind of keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
So I would not send it, but I would vent it. So I think people need to have that, which I see daily. Vent karna theek hai. That's why when somebody comes to me in office, till date, I tell them, are you coming to me because you want me to take action, or are you just coming to venting? ये दो बहुत अलग चीजें हैं. Because when you come to me to vent, I will say, okay, Ash is a person who's coming to me because she's upset and she's just venting. But if you come to me with a proper concern because you're coming to HR, you're not coming to Naz. Then I will look at how I either guide you through it or I take action over it. So that's that.
And I have one thing, you know, like, I don't like when people just keep coming with the problem.
Yeah.
I also like when, okay, you have a problem, everyone has a problem, but also think through the solution maybe, or think through the other side as well before you went.
If humans were so evolved, then would we ever need somebody like that? You know, I think evolution is again a very subjective term. You obviously evolve in age, but mentally a lot of people, when you talk to, like I always say, I have found some very brilliant 25-year-olds who leave me awestruck, and I see people like 50s and all, and I'm like, this is like a man child or a woman child, you know. So that's the difference. Like, how have you evolved? How much of exposure do you have? Where do you see yourself growing? How are you able to channelize and figure out where and how you want to be? So I think that is very important, that where you are, matlab, have you evolved from ape to a man, or are you still in the ape phase, is what I say on a lighter note. But सब कुछ people तो बंदर ही रह जाते हैं, you know. It's that
One corporate value that you think should be just thrown into the dustbin.
What's one corporate value? We are open to feedback. Because you're not. Like, you're not open to feedback. Like, I have given...
I think they are throwing the feedback in dustbin.
Yeah, because, you know, I want to narrate one important thing, and if people who I know will watch my podcast, they'll know who I'm talking about. So once one of the CEOs of an organization sent a mail to about 20% of the organization saying that I want to take feedback about your HODs, because they were our direct reports, and trust me, this is only between you and us and HODs. मुझे पता था ये HOD के पास जाएगा feedback, so मैं also कीड़ा. I wrote, I said, he's a little disrespectful. He calls out people badly. He calls out his team members badly in public, and you know, he makes it like a personal attack, because he used to say you are useless, because that's another very wrong way of giving feedback. Like, in uske upar we'll need a different podcast. So I said that I find him very disrespectful. He does this in meetings with external people also and all. Next day morning, the HR head calls me. So I'm disrespectful. मैंने ये बोला. So I was like, point proved. क्यों पूछते हो feedback के लिए जब आपको अपने पेट में feedback रखना आता नहीं है? So I feel, stop saying it, because you are not open to feedback, you know, and you put your ego hats, personal hats, all hats together while taking feedback. Where is your professional hat?
I think it's almost like parents as well, right? That open to feedback, but I think once you give a feedback...
My parents never said open to feedback, because being a late child, I have a 40-year age gap with my parents. So मेरे parents तो were very those Raj Kapoor generation. तो उनका तो feedback तो was a different thing together. But see, that's a family thing is still, I understand. But in a professional thing, नहीं तो वो आपका value रखो ही नहीं ना, बोलो ही नहीं. Nobody is judging you. But अगर आप बोल के फिर नहीं करोगे, that is a problem.
What's the most common lie companies give on your straight face?
The most common lie companies give straight on your face? Oh, there are many. So I don't know which is the most common. But yeah, we want you to grow with us. Yes, a lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. So I think it's a very quick fix solution. वो बोल देते हैं ना कि like how a lot of girls, because they are in love with the guy, हाँ मैं शादी के बाद काम छोड़ दूंगी, मैं बच्चों को बड़ा करूंगी, and this and that. I mean, it's a very outdated example, but it's like that. So companies also, it's like that bait, it's like that carrot. We want you to grow with us, you want you to develop with us. So when somebody gives you this, and that's what I want to educate the Gen Zs, then when something comes to you in a very good way, like I always give the example of a good-looking guy with a biker jacket, leather denims on a bike, on a Harley, is totally my soft spot. And when I tell people that if any company comes to you with something which is too good to be true, then probably it is. So watch out for this in conversations. You want you to grow with us, matlab kya? Kaise? You cannot just give me an open-ended statement. If you tell me we want you to grow with us, you put my growth plan on the table.
Yeah.
Then I will probably believe what you say. Otherwise, it's sab hawa mein.
Of course. If Gen Z and Gen X were playing a role in sitcom, what would the roles be?
You know, I think Gen X would be... Have you seen Suits?
Yeah.
So I think Gen X would be a Louis Litt. As much as I love Louis, trust me,
Yes,
as one
yeah,
character,
even me.
I love him, but I feel sorry for him because he's always trying to stay cool. You know, he tries to be cool with Mike Ross.
Yeah.
He tries to give gyan. He thinks that he's been there, done that. He says, "Hamare zamane mein ye hota tha." So I think Louis Litt would be the perfect Gen X character for me. And I think Gen Z... अगर कोई होता तो again I think I would probably take Mike Ross only from Suits. I think he was somebody who was very sorted, considering his background and considering that level of maturity at a young age. Like, he knew his shit. So I think these two would be the perfect characters, and how how Mike dodging Lewis, and still there were times when Mike used to go to Lewis for certain things because he felt that Lewis would be the only one to help him out. So I think these two would be the perfect characters. Yeah.
I agree, to be honest, because they fit so properly. Like even Mike Ross, like one thing I really liked that suits the Gen Z
Yeah.
as a character is the work. He gets the work done.
He gets the work done.
He doesn't have to do the 9 to 6. He doesn't have to stick to the 9 to 6.
Again, people will hate me for saying this, but I think Mike very smartly kept the emotion out of his work.
Yeah.
Like Lewis Litt got emotional about a cat. He filed a lawsuit against somebody because of a cat. मतलब आप emotion, और वो हार भी गया, वो अलग बात है, but keep your emotions off the shelf at workplace is what Mike Ross taught. With a lot of Gen X's get very, like I have this funny thing, like, work from home, WFH, Gen X's and boomers says we feel horrified. It's in WFH. They can't work from home. So that was the thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like even Lewis himself, I think I've seen so many times that he got so emotionally struck and he would react. He would
that's why he
immediately
lost.
react. And then he would regret later as well. But at that time, he would always react. And Mike Ross wouldn't do that.
Coming
I
back
think.
to the entire thing of never give the react. This is a learning
Yes.
for you. I think learning for you also, somewhere, because I'm sure you have a lot of things to achieve. So do I, by the way. Nothing is like life starts at 40. But I think this entire thing of controlling and owning your emotions is a lesson which people need at all stages of their life.
That's true.
Because today also there are so many Lewis Lids, there are so many 50, 60 plus who probably still continue giving that reaction because they just feel that हम ऐसे ही रहेंगे. It's not about changing, but it's also about how smartly, it's like not breaking but smartly bending is what I would say.
What's one thing Gen Z does that secretly terrifies the older generations?
Boundaries. 7 o'clock. Like I had Gen Zs in my team in one assignment. I said, sorry, we were out, हम बाहर गए थे, हमारा phone घर पे हो गया था. So I'm like, why are you giving me this reason? They're like, why are you calling us after 7? Boss, I was not upset. I was, wow.
What would you answer?
No, I was like, okay, and I was like, okay. I would answer this because it was not I never say, how can somebody in my team talk to me? Because those were boundaries. Mm-hmm. Like for me, Sunday ko, even if I'm sitting and having a massage and if my manager will call me, मैं ऐसे करके phone उठा दूंगी. Because I would feel कि यार, boss ने phone किया कुछ important होगा. They're like, नहीं, things can wait. Nothing is going to change, nothing is going to end. So, and I think this is what boomers and everybody is terrified, is that how beautifully they're able to put their boundaries together. Like people say Gen Zs don't want to work. I'm sorry, either you've come from the wrong lot or you've ticked them off in a way as per your wrong behavior. Boundaries is something which they do so beautifully, and I think respect for that, totally. And we are, at least I'm not terrified. I only feel that why did I not do it? But yeah, the boomers and the millennials are saying, yeah, how are they pushing back?
I think when I got into corporate culture, I think I was trying to prove myself. I was trying to create my own career. So at one point, I had to become that yes ma'am, which I didn't want to be honest, but I had to be. And I was always like, ye presentation culture, and I'll be like, yes ma'am. I'll do it. I'll work at night and give you, I was that kind of a person.
Yeah.
But now when I work with interns, when I work with Gen Z, and I try to tell them, I was starting to get that reaction that, no, I think I'm not going to be able to do it today. Can you tell the client that they will get it later? And I started thinking from the other way around, that to be honest, it's really right, because I have seen myself putting second, and the boss's call or the presentation or whatever that shit is first, because you just want to do it, because you're trying to
prove yourself. You're trying to say that, hey, if I do this and stuff, but beyond the time, it should be worth it. My point is, do something at the end of the day if it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm good that these guys are realizing it younger, when their careers, they're not far ahead in their careers. And like I'm doing it now. Like today, I can tell a client that you will get the presentation after 2 days or 3 days. Self motivated is gada mazduri. Self motivated हर सब कुछ करेगा. So I think that is something which I have very clearly learned from the Gen Zs. So I think hats off to the Gen Zs for bringing this to our, because we really need it, because they have shaken us up. And I think that's a good thing which they've brought.
Because it brings back to what you started saying in the first, that हम काम कर रहे हैं to earn the money.
Yeah.
We are not working to live.
Yes.
Living life is
Yeah.
different from working.
Totally, totally.
What's one thing older generations refuse to let go of for reasons unknown?
I think they're still stuck in their generation. That is what they refuse to let go of. ये AI वेआई क्या है? You know, ये बच्चा हमें क्या सिखाएगा? So you know, the other day I was having a meeting with one of the clients, and I was talking about Sassy and said, so he started laughing and said, ha ha ha, kids these days. And I stopped him. And there were like 5 other people in the meeting. I said, please call them talent. Don't call them kids. So just because you're old in age, biologically, you cannot tell somebody kids these days. This is talent you're dealing with. बच्चे आपके घर पे है, ऑफिस में कोई बच्चा नहीं है. तो पहले आप change the way you think, and your change the way you think is the kind of conversations you will have. So start calling them talent. They are not wanting to be babied or mothered. They are wanting to be treated in a way. All they are asking is like, don't treat us like kids. And all Gen X's are saying that don't treat us like Buddhas. So somewhere down the line, I think they need to move ahead. I'm not saying start being cool with them. I'm saying accept them, embrace them. And trust me, they will keep coming to you for wisdom and experience. That's a secret they don't know. As much as Gen Zs feel they don't need it, trust me, they are having these conversations, work conversations with somebody at your age and your stage outside work. And why are they doing that? Because you're not giving them that open window to have those conversations with you. So you need to change that. Be with them, be their friend. Don't say, hey, आज का बच्चा क्या सिखाएगा? Say that, hey, you know what, like the other day I was having difficulty with Gamma, so I asked a Gen Z, I said, can you help me with Gamma? Because as exciting as I don't know. So it is okay to say you don't know because you don't know.
And I think it's between these two generations, and with this generation gap, the learning never stops, right?
Never stops.
You keep learning. You always learn.
Absolutely.
I'm learning. You know what? My nephew, who's a 5-year-old, he choreographed my dance. Can you imagine that?
Nice.
And I learned that from him.
Absolutely.
I believe that learning will never stop.
I know.
Whichever old you get.
And I mean, you should be excited. You know, I have this entire funda of like, for me, an energy age of a person is more important than the biological age. So for me, it's the energy which attracts me in a person. So first of all, I'm not going to look at you whether you're 25 or whether you're 55. If we are aligned on energies and if you can get the job done. And that's my message to corporates also today. If everybody is saying, and younger. अरे क्या है young में? Younger क्या है? Look at people. Do they have the skills? Do they have the energy? Like today, I feel I still am more energetic than a lot of Gen Zs I deal with. Because I still am a learner. I still am a child. I still go to every meeting like, oh, it's my first presentation. And mentally, I'm still that one person putting my point across. I'm not sitting on my 15 plus years of experience or, oh, I'm the HR, I've been a CHRO, so I can't. I said, no, I'm still a jumpy intern. So you need to be the intern and CEO of your life. You need to be the Gen Z and the Gen X of your life. And that's the secret. Then you'll be open to learning. And because you embrace those personas, you can crack it with anybody. Like, I never have a challenge working with Gen Zs. You know, I don't, because I figure out ways how to, what they want. See, it's a transaction, right? At work, it's a transaction. So what do you want? You want credit for your work? Yes, you will get it. You do this job, you can work from anywhere. You don't have to sit in front of me and I don't have to keep observing you.
You don't have to micromanage all the time.
I hate it. I hate being micromanaged. I've actually told my boss, if you want to tell me how to do my job, you do it, I'm not doing it. And then I become the rebel kid. You know, I'm like, okay, मैं उस time की अपूर्वा, मैं तो अभी भी अपूर्वा हूँ, rebel kid हूँ. But that's the point, right? You have to treat them like adults. Treat them as per their age and stage, not as per your age. That's where I feel a lot of people are kind of still stuck up.
I think it's almost like they need to stop thinking it's a mirror. You're not seeing yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest problem. Like if you see Gen X and all the CXOs and
Yeah.
CEOs, they keep saying that we in our time we used to work so much, we used to work so hard, we used to sit in office till night and all of that. But I'm saying that okay, like does it make sense that you're sitting in office for 12 hours, 15 hours, or on the other hand, is it hard work or a smart work? I
Exactly.
think the same work can be done smartly. You don't have to work for 15 hours. It can be
Absolutely.
done in less time, and I think that's what Gen Zs are doing now. And with AI, I think they're taking it to the next level.
Absolutely. So, like I say, that's what I say. If you want to actually sort of mentor them on the emotional quotient, not on their IQ. They have better IQ than us.
Yeah.
You know, don't try and teach them skills. They have skills. Take into consideration the EQ of how they should navigate with all their skills, because if their EQ is not strong, they will fail. Empower them with EQ, not IQ. I think if you do that, then I think you've made them a fan for life. At least I have.
I think that was one thing I had liked in one of the jobs was I used to go to office. We had a buffer of 10 to 10:30, so I would always go around 10:30. And then after a point, I think they saw my skills of how I'm making the decks and how
Yeah.
they were able to crack some big deal.
Right.
So after that, I think my boss was like, "Okay, what's your deal? Like you don't like to work in morning?" I'm like, my creativity just doesn't come in morning. I'm more of a night person. I don't know. I've tried my whole life, but I have tried to make that cycle
Right.
change, but never happened. So he was like, okay, until unless the work is getting done, I don't care.
Absolutely.
So I would work at night,
Yeah.
make the presentations, and in the morning he'll be like, okay, come whenever
You want.
Yeah. And I think that was like understanding we had between us. I think.
No,
as
I
we
think
move forward.
that's very important, because see, like we talk about, like you correctly mentioned some time back, like in a marriage or relationship, work also is like that marriage relationship with your boss. Like I still feel like once there was somebody like when we were in one of the organizations that we worked, our CEO was very supportive. He's like, if you have to be at your child's PTA meeting on a Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock, you should be able to go. And if you have to come to office on Sunday at 2 o'clock to work on a presentation, you should come. That means you are giving Tuesday पे midweek आप जा सकते हो, आप जाओ. People were so happy with that. People were like, यार, if you give me that, मैं क्यों आके काम नहीं करूँगा?
Yeah.
Like, मैं क्यों नहीं आऊँगा? So that was a game changer. And as HRs, we also, I'm like, wow, now that is a big step. Now, had a Naz said it that time, they would have been like, no. But because a management has been, that's why I always say it's not an HR's job to change the culture, it's the whole organ, it's the top management. और bottleneck कहाँ होता है? Top पे ही होता है ना bottleneck.
Yeah.
तो वो ऊपर का bottleneck खोलोगे तो ही पानी free होगा. Like what I say. So that's the kind of buy-in which I've been always pushing and fighting for all my life, saying me going and telling them at a manager level won't work. It should be an organization, the CEO, the leadership needs to be involved.
I think they should be self-motivated to understand before expecting from the employees.
Yeah. So that's that.
Who handles feedback worse? The ones who gives it or the ones who receive it?
You know, I start getting a neck pain with that question. So I think I think it's both. You know why? Managers give feedback as a personal attack. Individuals take feedback as if the person has abused the father, mother, पूरे खानदान को गाली दे दी, आपने मेरे डॉगी को कुछ बोला. There should be a way to give, first of all, again, a realization. You know, so I was always a top performer wherever I worked. So one of the organizations, I got a B rating instead of an A. B rating कैसे? I am not a B. So I went to the CEO's room. मेरा वो था because I am like that. हम पहले जॉब पे CHRO के रूम में घुस गई, फिर यहाँ मैं CEO के रूम में घुस गई, बड़ा like कौन रोक के दिखाएगा? I was like, sir, I am not a B. Said, sit down. पानी जूस कुछ मंगवाओ. Said, sir, I am not a B. अरे बाबा बैठ लड़की. You are not a B. These were your deliverables for this quarter. This is what you've achieved. This is what you have just achieved. So the rating is on your work. You are an A, we all know. But this time, somewhere down the line, this has not been done. That's why you've been rated a B. अभी ये मेरे को मेरा मैनेजर समझाता तो मैं CEO के पास क्यों जाती? This is the importance of giving proper feedback. Some junglies today also in corporates at whatever level or chair you're sitting don't know how to give feedback. And because they give feedback in a way, HR has all these one-on-one discussions. People come and say, my manager is an ass, इसने ऐसे बोला. अरे feedback ढंग से दो. Second to me, again I keep feedback ढंग से लो.
Yeah.
Why did I not take it positively? Because he told me, you are a B. Had he told me, explained to me, the CEO spent 5 minutes with me, and I was like, okay, prancing out of the room, I went, and I was like, okay.
He made you understand why.
Exactly my point. Your feedback as work is about your work, so give it that way. And employees, take feedback about your work. Don't take it as a personal attack. आपके खानदान को कोई नहीं बोल रहा है. It is about your work कि आपने क्या deliver किया नहीं किया. Till today, Ash, this is like a multi-generational problem. People don't know how to give feedback. And these are people sitting in all these head and C chairs. You know, like CFO, CHRO, this. Because उनको feedback देना आता ही नहीं है.
And that's why I think it's a loop, right? That they don't know how to give a feedback, and that's why the employees are like not taking the feedback in right way.
Exactly. So instead of having that extra 20 minutes at sutta and gossiping, saying कि ऑफिस में किसका चक्कर किसके साथ चल रहा है, उतना टाइम आप आदमी को feedback देने में दो ना. Bond in the right way, not over all this gossip and nonsense.
In your opinion, is this generational drama a problem or a free entertainment?
Oh, it's like a total binge-worthy show.
Yeah.
So entertaining because when you're sitting on a neutral chair, and today I'm on a neutral chair.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I love Gen Zs and I feel, why was I not born 10 years later to be a Gen Z? Because I am a Gen Z soul. I still feel that, boss, it is entertaining because जब आप neutral, they say no, sometimes the problem which you think is a mountain is just a mole. Same thing is that. Most of these corporate dramas which happen, and people are not really making micro dramas where I will probably make it one day and pitch it, is where I feel it is useless. You know, confessions, you know, sometimes the kind of silly problems people come and tell you in HR one-on-ones are so silly. You feel, यार ये corporate problem है, ये official problem है, अभी HR को इसमें intervene करना चाहिए, इसके लिए कोई complaint लिखेगा. You know, you feel कि what is wrong with people? Like, ये क्या है? It is actually a circus. So, that is, it's entertaining. Basically, it's entertaining.
Become an entertainment.
Yeah. It's not even a problem to bring to HR. You take the guy down for a sutta break and talk to him directly. It will be solved in 5 minutes.
But you spend 1 hour in the meeting room, he's going to be disappointed and go. Mental health at work, real priority or new corporate buzzword?
I just think it's a buzzword to begin with, and I think because suddenly it's that lighthouse effect, you know, suddenly the lighthouse is on mental health, so everybody's talking about mental health. Sure, very important for a feel-good factor also, but what exactly are you doing about mental health? I think more than running campaigns on mental health, what are small things you are doing is what matters. Like, for example, not bothering an employee after 8 p.m., giving the employee the choice to work as per his terms as long as the work doesn't get impacted. For me, that is mental health. It is not the posters and the campaigns. It is about what actually are you doing in your team. How actually are you putting your team together? That is mental health. Are you not please don't, like, I've seen a lot of abusive managers in my career. How are you dealing with your team? Are you giving the person bandwidth? मैं ये नहीं बोल रही कि उसको दोस्त बना दो, उसको घर पे बुके भेजो. But I'm saying, how are you ensuring that as a team you all are contributing to the organization? As a team you are contributing to an individual's growth. मेरे लिए वो mental health है. ये सब mental health नहीं है.
It's almost like recently I saw this, like there was a screenshot going viral of the chat box where someone was asking for a leave because he was in hospital or something. Yeah. And the manager was like, send me send me invoice or show me
that is just
prescription.
policing. Send me, like we also used to say ना, eye infection है, so get doctor's prescription. ये कौन करता है ये यार? मतलब I remember sending it, but I'm saying, like I said, we millennials and boomers did all this rubbish. ना today if they say send me, they'll say haha. Like कौन भेजता है डॉक्टर का प्रिस्क्रिप्शन यार? वो तो मैं भी लिख के दे सकती हूँ. Like those petrol bills, like did you see people are making fake petrol bills for reimbursement through AI? And people can make doctors receipts. People are making PAN cards with AI. Like तभी हमारे पास AI नहीं था तो हमें किसी को जुगाड़ करके डॉक्टर से लिखवाना पड़ता था. And it was जुगाड़. Like you know it,
Yeah,
I know it.
yeah.
But it's ridiculous. What is this nonsense of reimbursements? ये करो वो करो. I understand taxation ये है, but why do you need proof for everything? Like for example, even for leave, you have 30 annual leaves. You take it for your dog's thing, you take it for going on a holiday, you take it for your ML, you take it for whatever. You don't need to give a reason to take leave. You don't need to give a reason. Like for me also, people say, okay, why do you want to go on leave? अरे यार मेरी लीव है, मेरी मर्जी, मैं लीव पे क्या करूँ? अच्छा मैं झूठ बोल के जाऊँ? ठीक है, मैं झूठ बोल के जाऊँगी कि मुझे इसके शादी में जाना है. अरे क्यों भाई? आपको सिर्फ लिखना है कि मैं लीव पे हूँ.
It almost comes to trust factor.
Trust. At the bottom line, if it's not trickling down, all those rosy campaigns are good for social media. But actually, how your employees feel about you is what matters.
And I think this brings me to the next question, which is transparency. Are we talking glass wall or transparency about frosted glass? If you squint, that is the transparency.
Yeah, again, this is a very tricky thing in terms of what is the definition of transparency, or what do people look at, how transparent they want to be. Like, let me give you an example. I once had a discussion in an open meeting where I said, you know what, we should have everybody's salaries transparent. And everybody was looking at me as if like, मतलब ये बकवास ना बाहर मत करना, रूम के बाहर जाके ये बकवास मत करना. आई एम लाइक, आपको क्या लगता है लोगों को लोगों की सैलरीज पता नहीं है? आपको क्या लगता है? आप बोलते हो किसी को किसी की परफॉर्मेंस रेटिंग पता नहीं होनी चाहिए, वॉशरूम में जाके डिस्कस होता है, नीचे जाके सुट्टा पे. आई सेड, यू थिंक पीपल डोंट नो विच वर्ल्ड आर यू लिविंग इन? पीपल नो. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, इफ सैलरी बैंड्स आर ट्रांसपेरेंट, व्हाट इज रॉन्ग विथ इट? It may create a thing, then you have to put your strategy saying, this is a person, so this band people we take between 20 lakhs and 40 lakhs. You know, basis your skills, basis your performance, basis everything. Be open and transparent. So tomorrow if a person comes and says कि मैं भी H1 level हूँ, वो भी H1 level है, हमारी salary अलग क्यों है, at least you can tell them. That for me is transparency. Not saying we are open and transparent, because like I said, at the end of the day, you got to be kidding me if people don't know what's happening in the company. In fact, I feel sometimes the HR is also clueless and people come and tell me, तुम्हें पता है ये टीम में ये restructuring
I think people know more than the HR sometimes, I feel.
See? And then they say I roast HR. This is the problem.
What's one leadership habit that needs to disappear forever?
Leadership habit which needs to disappear forever. Okay, now I'm going to think on this one. It may take long. I don't think there is one leadership habit. I think there is an amalgamation of many habits. Like, for example, I think this entire thing of one team, one goal, which leaders keep harping about. Again, all I say is that sure, it's good, but how are you empowering people? When leadership talks about empowerment also, I think that's one habit. Okay, good, I got my answer. That's one habit. What are you are you empowering them to make decisions? No. Are you empowering them to chart out their own growth plan, the organization? No. Are you empowering them to take responsibility for things done wrong? Yes. That is not empowerment. So when you speak and say, when leaders talk about empowering, don't talk about it unless you're actually empowering people. So I think that is one thing which needs to be taken off the dictionary unless they're actually doing it. You know, there's this recent, in fact, put it in this podcast, that entire meme of Family Man 4, where Jaideep Alawat is talking to Nimrat Kaur saying, "Ek baat batao, madam. आप जो बोलती है ना करती नहीं है." And people have made memes saying, person giving feedback to the manager. And you know what Nimrat says? Nimrat says, "Listen, I pay you to work for me." तो ये actually ये conversation ना, people have made a corporate meme out of it. When a person is trying to give feedback saying, "मैडम एक बात बताओ, आप बोलते हैं कुछ करते नहीं है, ऐसे चुप रहो, तुम्हें पैसे मैं देती हूँ, तुम मेरे लिए काम करते हो." So that is what That is reality.
What's a work rule that makes zero sense but still exists for nostalgia?
Marking your attendance. Like you come, peep, mark your attendance, अंगूठा लगाओ, अंदर जाओ. और अगर आपने बाहर जाते वक्त अंगूठा ये कर दिया तो मतलब ये बंदा तो इधर ऑफिस इतना काम कर रहा है, ऑफिस के बाहर गया ही नहीं है, इज ही वर्किंग लेट ओवरनाइट, वो बंदा 3 बजे ऐसे ही चला गया है. सो दैट एंटायर अंगूठा अटेंडेंस फॉर मी नहीं करो यार.
And I think for online people now there is something called, I got to know this
Yes,
recently, that
monitoring
your
software.
mouse,
Yeah, mouse.
your mouse has to keep moving. So I saw recently there was a reel. So you know there was a cleaning machine in the house. So they attached a mouse to it. So it kept moving.
Yeah.
And that was kind of showing that we
He's
are working.
But that's, see, if you think if people can hack iPhones, राइट, इफ पीपल कैन हैक आईफोन्स, उनका दिमाग सारे उल्टे चीज़ों में जा रहा है, तुमको क्या लगता है कि ये लोग ये नहीं करेंगे? Why do you do these things? आप करते क्यों हो? आप उंगली क्यों कर रहे हो? It's as this, you know, see, I'm like getting all crassy and non-sassy, but आप उंगली क्यों कर रहे हो? Why are you doing it? As long as the work is getting done. Now, if you can question a person if on his output, don't question him on his screen time.
Why does flexibility scare some companies more than innovation itself?
This is a nice question. फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी क्या होता है? ऑटोनॉमी. फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी क्या होता है? अबिलिटी टू डू थिंग्स योर वे. फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी क्या होता है? व्हेन द पर्सन लूजेस कंट्रोल ऑफ यू. People still prefer control over autonomy. When you lose control, it becomes कि I am not controlling this. So they would take control over being progressive. You understand the entire thing, how it fits in. So it's all the thing about losing control. That is the reason why people say flexibility, they are scared of it. Because they feel अगर हमने किसी को flexibility दे दी, we have lost control over that person. That's the thing.
I think with a lot of senior people also, like their old habits of I want to work on a Word document on my laptop, whereas the Gen Z is gonna be like, no, I want to work on Google Drive because you can see the changes, you can work there, we can work together. But then they would still be like, I want to work on my laptop. You know, so I think even if the innovation and the technology is evolving, they still don't want to be flexible.
Like they still want a printed agenda of the meeting.
Yeah.
They still want agenda का प्रिंट आउट रखना चाहिए टेबल पे. अरे यार क्या है ये?
They still do want to be in their cocoon and they want to keep everyone else the same. But I don't think so Gen Z is gonna stay in that. Okay, I recently saw your reels about red flags. So let's come to that. What's a red flag so bright it should come with a siren?
What's a red flag so bright that it should come with a siren? Figure out your job role on yourself. That's how we empower you. No, I'm serious. This basically means we don't have a JD. We don't know, we can't give you anything defined, but you can come in and figure out your role. But the way they sell it to you as if boss, हम आपको autonomy दे रहे हैं. So I think a lot of interviewers do this and say this to candidates that you come and we'll draft a role. It's exciting, you know. I fell for that, but I could still draft a role because I was always doing many things at one go. But this is a trap. So I think that's a big red flag.
And which behavior instantly tells you, yep, this manager is chaos on legs?
When they send you a meeting invite without an agenda. क्या है यार, क्यों मीटिंग कर रहे हो? Why is your meeting without an agenda? Just because you're a manager, your time is more important, so I have to put everything. What is the agenda of the meeting? Why do you want to talk to me? So I think that is a huge red flag in a manager. If you see a meeting invite, in fact, 1 or 2 companies where I used to send meeting requests, and block their meeting time on Outlook, see their calendars. The CEO actually sent a mail to the organization saying this is the first person in this company who is checking my calendar and blocking it. नहीं तो लोग क्या करते हैं, मेल है, can we meet at 2 o'clock, can we meet at 3 o'clock, क्या है?
Just check the calendar.
So I was like, imagine him sending a mail to the whole organization for something so silly. वैसा है, you know. So and I used to put the agenda and everything. So वो तो होना ही है ना, मतलब.
I think anyone, it's not just, it's not just the Gen Z or Gen X.
Yeah.
Everyone who's coming in a meeting just should know why they're coming in
Why
a
are we
meeting.
here? Like, why
Yeah.
are we here? Like, that's the thing.
What's the most misleading positive culture line companies love using?
Positive culture. We have the best one of a kind engagements for employees. You have
Is the engagement
karaoke Thursdays. You have movie Wednesdays. मैंने कहा first fix the culture, then plan the karaoke. But ये बोला like one of a wow, like they say three hours of culture brainstorming, and what is the big idea? Fun Friday. That is what engagement. हम ऐसे करते हैं, हम birthday party celebrate करते हैं. क्या है यार? What is this? I want to like run if somebody, and that's why people make memes about us, no? Because this is what we put. This is what we sell in terms of culture.
That is not positive culture. Then
No,
what
that's not even culture. Like क्या है ये? Fun Fridays, Pizza Thursdays, क्या है? It's rubbish.
So what's a green flag that employees overlook because they're traumatized by old jobs?
What's a green flag employees overlook because they're traumatized by old jobs? I think one-on-ones. I think one-on-ones, the power of one-on-ones today, I still feel is very impactful. Only thing, you cannot go to a one-on-one unprepared and saying, और बताओ क्या हो रहा है लाइफ में, और बताओ और बताओ, बाकी सब ठीक, वो गाना है ना, बाकी सब ठीक, बस what is it, complete, I don't know, what is, some गाना is there. So you need to, I think the power of one-on-ones is really impactful. If you go with an agenda, what am I going to, this is the problem, this is the solution, and this is how I will come with an action plan. Every meeting should have a takeaway and an action plan. Every conversation, like you correctly said, if you go, just don't go with a problem, go with a solution. I will go one step forward with an action plan. This is what I feel a solution. This is the action plan which will tie into the company results. When you go and talk to, you need to go and talk to people at that level. Then only expect them to talk to you at that level.
Yeah.
And one-on-ones are very impactful. Although there's AI, although there are these chatbots who do employee pulse, you cannot take away the power of a one-on-one. Don't do a health check on me. Tell me, okay, this is your problem. Let's fix it together. Let's do it. Let's is what I feel.
Conversation. I think that's
I think people see this. People don't see this is a green flag in an organization. Even today they see, अरे यार one-on-one. But यार तुम one-on-ones को तुम कैसे treat कर रहे हो? तुम्हारे पिछले organization कैसे treat कर रहा है? Don't see it that way. Because you had bad experiences, see how you can make these one-on-ones impactful.
And you can't put everything in a mail and a message. One trait of genuinely healthy workplace that sounds small but changes everything.
I think leadership involvement in human resources, because in a lot of companies I feel business is sitting on a separate horse and HR is sitting on a separate horse. Business and HR is not inclined. Luckily, I have worked with some CEOs who are as invested in making HR an impact function rather than just a function where you're looking at recruiting and nothing else.
Yeah.
I think where the leadership is invested in HR more like an impact function, I think that's a great place, because there's so much of dynamism HR as a function can bring to the table, and if you have the leadership buy-in, I don't think you want anything else to make an impact.
I think recently when I was interviewing someone, she did ask me that, so are you going to approve each and everything that I'm going to work on, the messages that I'm sending to the client, to the mail? And I was like, why? Why would I do that? I was like, maybe at first I would just understand how you're communicating, and I'll just make sure if you're on the right track. And I think once you get a gist of it, I'm not gonna indulge in each and everything and micromanage you. And she was shocked, to be honest. She was like, seriously? She was like, my previous manager would ask me to send each and everything. Every time I'm sending a message to the client or even making a call, I had to take the manager on the call, or I had to keep that person on another call and make them hear what I'm talking. And I think this is one of the red flags, and even I think employees
you need to give trust. If somebody is not able to live up to the trust, then get into it. But सब पहले तो एटलीस्ट लेट द पर्सन प्रूव ना, मतलब व्हाई द पर्सन हैज कम, पहले से यू कांट स्टार्ट माइक्रो मैनेजिंग द पर्सन.
Yeah. What's your favorite type of leader to work with and why?
Secure leader. So, when I worked for one of the organizations which I will happily name, Big FM, and the CEO also, who I absolutely adore professionally, Mr. Tarun Katyal, he taught us this very important concept of service leadership. How you service your team, how you lead from behind and not necessarily from the front. Now, when I say lead from behind, is how they are the ones driving and you're supporting them. You're giving them the umbrella while letting them take decisions. I think that was one of the core values of Big FM. And I think the way he led it, I think that according to me is that leader, the secure leader, the leader which believes in service leadership. And I keep giving this example even after probably 12 years of moving out of Big M, because it's still so fresh in my ear, because the entire value of leadership is what I learned from not my HR head but from the CEO.
This is so nice, yeah. I mean, I think there are many leaders I've seen who always like to be in the front.
Yeah.
They want to do everything themselves. And they also like to take the,
Credit for it.
Yes,
Yeah,
all the credit for it. And I think it doesn't work that way. I think when you on the ladder of becoming a leader, I think you have to let go of that
Absolutely.
control and let the team do it.
Absolutely.
Let them prove it to you that okay, they are they're genuine and they are
And
working
like I
in
said,
that way.
that is one of that. See that impact. Like certain people and leaders have such a strong impact on my life in a good and a bad way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is the essence of leadership, which he was so beautifully. He would demonstrate it. He would not just say it. Like बोलने और करने में होता, he would
Of
just
course.
he lived it daily, and that was something which was absolutely awe-inspiring till date. About him.
So what keeps you still curious about people, work and culture?
Oh, so I am like a curious bunny on steroids. I am curious about everything. And I think work, culture, the entire HR, like, the entire humane factor of HR, the entire hilarious factor of HR. I think what keeps me curious is I feel there's so much more to do, there's so much more to learn, and there's so much more to impact.
Yeah.
I think that always keeps me curious. What can I do different? And I feel that is something which has not changed right from the time I stepped into 20. I used to be that person who used to keep asking questions. And I was always told that you ask too many questions. I'm like, if I don't, how will I learn? And I
Yeah.
think today also when I have Kida, I will ask questions. Although the person is getting irritated, but that's not my problem. I will, because I want to learn and grow and I want to create that impact. So I think that is something which is an element of my persona, which is always going to be there. Like,
Yeah.
Because I want to learn, I want to grow, I still want to do so much more.
Yeah.
So that's
I think, as I said, learning never stops.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, unlearning also never stops.
Nothing stops,
And you have
yeah.
to be curious to know what you have to unlearn and what you have to learn. And I think
absolutely, yeah,
curiosity
that's
is
what I
the
do.
main key.
That's what I do. I kind of wipe off, like, very interestingly, I'm going to kind of very smartly seed this in. Like tomorrow, I want to work on developing my own AI tech platform, where I'm going to have one section where I have a skill currency, where people stay updated on skills of today, not what they learned 10 years back. I want to have an interview gym, because you, at whatever stage of your life, you have to be prepared for an interview.
Yeah.
Those curveball questions, whether you're 20 or 50. And I want to have this opportunity matchmaking for them. Like jobs which will fit them, which are relevant, which will wipe out all the Pizza Friday jobs
I
from
think
them.
marriage matchmaking is too much here in India. I think you can start this. Definitely.
No,
Make
man.
these relationships happen.
I mean, just imagine, like you crack it, you use the humane factor, you use the AI factor, you put up a platform where this is what a candidate, it's like, like I said, now I'm going to say hamare zamane mein, when we had a break, we used to go to coffee shops and have coffee. Today, I would go to an interview gym and do my mental workout.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
So that is the future of work. This is the future of work where what I speak about.
So how has being sassy HR lady changed your day-to-day life?
I think it is taking me closer towards what I always was. I think it's making it's just daily when you get up and you do something, at the end of the day you have that satisfaction that what you've done is right. I feel daily through my work, through my interactions, if I'm able to channelize, if I'm able to revolutionize something, if I'm able to trigger people, because at the end of the day, sassy HR lady is a persona. My entire thing is to make this a movement. It's like, one is you doing your job. I want to create that cultural revolution around HR, the HR voice of authority. I want to make HR ki, yes, we are a hip thing. Abhi, what we started as and what we've become is fine, but there is so much more which
Where we can go.
do. And I think sassy is in fact, I feel I should have probably done this 10 years earlier, where I would have said bye bye to corporate. But there always comes a breaking point in a person's career when you wake up and saying a bus. So that was my thing, a bus. And I said, no, now I want to do this. I want to give back. It's my entire thing of also giving back, but also making this a movement. And it's such a strong movement, Ash, because whoever I've been talking to about sassy, they've been like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, HR is exciting. And I'm like, thank you. Meko dekh ke pata nahi chalta kya. But the entire thing of like, yes, it just kind of fuels me that I'm on the right track. Because if one person also would have told me ki nahi, it would have been like, I don't find anybody, be it a 20, be it a 50. And that's what I like, that whatever I put on the table, there is a unanimous support, right from a person from 17 to a person from 64. All of them are aligned saying that, hey, this is something great. And this is something which will make a difference. Like for example, being a Gen Z translator. Who knew that this is such a current and a dire need today? But it is. I'm getting calls from CHROs saying, yaar, I don't know how to handle these. Come and ye kya hai? Ye kya tufan hai? Come and tell me how to handle these. Because I'm realizing, see, they are the future. They are the ones who are calling the shots.
Yeah. Sure.
They are today, they are the, what do you say? They are the Aryan Khans who've made a successful series. We need that kind of success. They are the SRKs who will always be evergreen. So if you can't be, or I would put it in this way, if you can't be an evergreen SRK, at least move with the times and adapt these guys.
Yeah.
So somewhere down the line, I think what I'm doing through my conversations, I'm just stirring people. I'm triggering people in the right way. And when I see the impact, when I see people thanking me on messages, DMs, saying, you've made a difference, I'm like, yes, I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
It's that.
Even I was wowed. Why do you think I called you for my podcast?
I'm glad. Like, Gen Z approval today is very important. Yeah.
One thing you wish companies would fix immediately.
Companies will fix immediately. I think their policies, yaar. Please fix your policies. Please take out your outdated leave policies. Sandwich leave nahi le sakte. Attendance chahiye. Stop giving what you want to people. Give them what they want. Like, for example, if I give you a customized package or to avail your taxes, like you may want education allowance, I may want fashion allowance.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Sabko education, meko nahi hona educated, meko anpad rehna hai. I don't want to get educated. Why are you giving me education allowance? I want fashion allowance to buy blazers or buy some hip things. Give me that. Give me pet allowance. Give me pet insurance. Another thing which I've been talking about, your group mediclaim policy. There are some policies which say you can take it only for your mother and father insurance, or you can take it for your kids and your spouse.
And when it comes to women specifically, they can only take for their in-laws and not their parents.
What rubbish is that? So my parents, my blood parents are not in-laws ke liye. Mujhe nahi chahiye. My mother has her own insurance policy which is superb. I don't want a husband. I don't want a child. I have a dog. Give me pet insurance. Why can you not customize that? Why are you so fixated कि ये mediclaim में इतना ही मिलेगा? अरे क्यों भाई? Then how are you giving me that employee experience? How are you giving me mental health? Now where is your mental health?
Yeah.
Now where is your experience? Now where is your culture? Do what I want. Give me as per my lifestyle. I have been screaming, you have to give me my lifestyle experiences, because an employee's tenure in an organization is mapping as per their lifestyle, not as per organization policies. So fix that. Once you fix that, you would have cracked it. Then automatically your engagement scores will go up. this is what they need to fix.
All the policies, all the outdated policies.
हमारी पॉलिसी ये है, क्यों है, बस यही है.
क्योंकि चलती आ रही है.
हाँ, that is what I'm saying.
It's almost like your संस्कार जो चलते आ रहे हैं, you don't want to change them, but at the same time you don't want to change the policies.
संस्कार तो I tell भाई संस्कार तो यही है कि once you guys are married, it's a strong relationship. फिर extra marital affairs तो होने ही नहीं चाहिए. फिर आपके संस्कार कहाँ जाते हैं? So you cannot say sanskar, you cannot say religion, and you cannot say policy. You have to be more pragmatic, more practical, and say, this is my, like for example, if I have 70% Gen Zs and 30% millennials, I have to have a policy which this customizes ye as well ye. Why can you not give customized policies? Why does it have to be blanket policies for everybody?
Everyone.
I questioned one CEO in one session saying, अच्छा मुझे बताओ आपको कितने Gen Z slang पता है? आपके 70% Gen Z है. So he's like, what is that? I said, आपको Gen Z slang नहीं पता? Now it was a different funny segment, but do you actually know your Gen Z lifestyles? By slang I meant their lifestyles. Map your policies as per their lifestyles. Then they will win over. Then mat karna, then they won't need me. Leave that.
But then they'll give you output, the one thing that you want.
Yeah, customize it. Give them what they want. And don't say because this is the policy. जब हमारे पास जवाब नहीं होता है हम बोलते हैं हाँ ये तो कंपनी की पॉलिसी है बॉस मत करो ना. That's what it is.
One thing you wish employees would stop misunderstanding.
If you have an issue at work, come and tell us. Don't tell us. Because we don't want to know your issues. We are focused on the output. Because we have our own issues. If you tell us your issues, what will we do about our issues? This is the actual thing. So हम जब बोलते हैं ना, we are being nice, but don't take it seriously. वैसा है.
And finally, what's the next bold thing you want your voice to be?
I want to be the Samay Raina of HR. Famous for the right reasons. Like I thought he got famous for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. I want to call out stuff and I want to fix it. I want to be the fixer who can fix anything in HR. So that's what I want to do. Like if people think of HR, they should think if it's not sassy, it's not HR. That's what I want to do.
Thank you for coming to my podcast, Nazneen.
Thank you for calling me.
It was really nice having you, having these conversations. I think Gen Z asking questions, I think that was the best part.
No. When you are encouraging something or when you are opposing something, you need to give a reason why you're doing it. And I think today, people have started, especially, and I'm glad that I'm doing this podcast with a Gen Z. I'm still thinking if a millennial or a boomer would have these open conversations with me, but...
I think more that person would have got shocked sitting in this chair.
No, but I think a very interesting compliment which I've got as sassy HR lady on a personal note is when this one Gen Z has said कि आप मेरे गाँव आना. This गाँव is some remote area of Rajasthan. I said आप मेरे गाँव में blazer पहन के आना जहाँ आज औरतें घूंघटों के साथ भी है और आप मेरे चाचा से बात करना और आप उनको समझाना कि औरतें कहाँ चली गई है और आज आप वे भी कर रहे हो. He's like, I want to see that fun conversation because first of all, seeing someone like you, he'll faint. So he's like, but I'm sure you will be able to create that impact even to him. So I took that as a compliment.
Wow.
Because I don't even remember the name of his gaon. Now there are so many gaons in Rajasthan. But it's some very remote and...
Very nice compliment.
Yeah, and I was like... Okay, I will do it just for the kicks. So I think that was one of the best compliments I've got from a Gen Z. कि मेरा चाचा के पास आके ये बात करना. So yeah, so this all feels that you're on the right track. You're creating a movement. You're stirring people. So yeah, that's that.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine.